Right, I'd like to call everybody to order, please, for the full council meeting. Before we start, as usual, if anybody has any questions or wishes to make any points, please raise their hand and I will come to them. They then have time, it's 3 minutes to make their point and speak, at which point we should be uninterrupted. So again, if anybody has any points to make, please raise their hand and I'll come to you. Hopefully, help the volunteers if I don't see your hands going up. Okay. Thank you. So, public question time for the first one. We've got no members of the public left. We've all got assuming they have no questions. I see which moves us nicely on. So, procedural matters. Public bodies Admissions to Meetings Act, amended by the Openness of Local Community Bodies Regulations on 6th of August 2014. So, that means, does anybody want to make a recording apart from the one that we're making anyway? No. So, thank you. Right, I'm over it. Any items we need to hear in private session, do we think?
There's none that I'm recommending to you as your clerk. I know that there were some papers for item 2526, 206, the civic use, that got sent out just to councillors due to commercial sensitivity. But they will become public documents if you approve them tonight.
Thank you. Apologies and reasons for absence?
We've had apologies and reasons emailed out. Councillor Collin has a dispensation in place. Councillor Green, Councillor Greaves, Councillor Blacker, Councillor Ryder, Councillor Lyles. And I understand that we've had verbal apologies from Councillor Fenwick, but unfortunately we weren't able to distribute the reasons before the meeting commenced.
Okay, so can we approve those reasons for absence, please? Any against? Netherthorne Ward, I'd like to again welcome Councillor Rob Butler, new councillor for Netherthorne Ward, so welcome Rob to the meeting. Receipt of written declaration of pecuniary and other interests.
Councillor Butler's DPI was sent out shortly after he was elected, and after it's been noted in this meeting, that will then have signature and address redacted and be placed on the HBPC website. Written and redacted originals are kept on file in the clerk team office and are available to view by the public.
Thank you very much. Moving on, any declaration of interest in agenda items for tonight's meeting? Councillor Wilson?
Civic trustee, so my dispensation allows me to speak, but not full. Those items 216 pertain to MSP.
Councillor Ramsden? And Councillor Bailey?
I think there's going to be some discussion about the tourism budget, and I have an interest, not personal or pecuniary interest, but I do have an involvement with that item. So it would be helpful, you can say at the time, it would be helpful if I could speak very well first.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Moving on.
Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Councillor Lyle, sorry.
Same applies to me.
Okay.
It's nicer.
Anybody else? Okay, thank you. So, firstly, minutes of full council meetings. To approve the minutes of the full council meeting held on the 2nd of February 26, move 2526. Have you got anything to add to that?
Well, if we can vote to approve the minutes first of all, and then we can go over actions around them.
Okay. All in favour of approving those minutes? Anyone against? Okay. Any abstentions? Okay, we're approved. Clark?
Yeah, so there are a number of items that don't come up in the agenda just to go through. First of all, minutes 2526172, the IT policy working group. I'm not sure if this working group is met yet. I'm wondering if you want me to perhaps email you all with some suggestions of meeting dates. If you want to.
Yeah, come on Sunday. I'll be too busy
Town of Culture competition. The council's been informed that the bid is going ahead, and we did receive a request to produce publicity material for this and send it out under the council's name. As your clerk, I replied this and explained that the council's resolve was to give general support to the bid rather than anything more specific than that. So that's just something for you to all be aware of. And minute 2526183, the draft safeguarding policy. There has been communication between members of the working group. That's councillors Blacker, Green, Bailey and Stewart, and recommendations will be brought in due course as was stated at the last meeting.
Right, agenda item 1 and 252619, minutes of standing committee meetings. First was to approve the minutes of the service provision committee meeting on February 26. All those in favour?
You really need to get someone to
No.
propose.
Second. Yeah. Second, thank you. And all those in favour? Against? Okay. Then to approve the minutes of the Finance and Management Committee meeting held on the 2nd of March 26. To approve that, please. Second.
You need a proposer and seconder?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then all those in favour? Thank you. Right, climate action, climate emergency standing item. This is a standing item just to make sure we consider any actions on the agenda as we go through the meeting. Thank you. Scheduled payments. Rich, do you want to do this?
Sure. So at this level, as you can see, in terms of the approvals, it's basically asset grants that were awarded the Finance Committee on the 3rd of March. I just want to make a point that these I put up to an amount on these grants. This is because the committee asked me to see if there was any opportunity to gift items or services to the community group so that we could then reclaim the VAT. So there's one that I haven't managed to do it with, which is Brothol's Village Trust. So we did give them a grant for 4979, but we are now going to pay for the fire alarm system, which is going to cost us 414,917. So we'll save about 830 quid. So I think that's a good win for not doing a great deal. I was also talking to Steve Henning from Holme Community Trust about the kissing date. Remember, we approved that. So I'm hoping that they'll solve something tomorrow where again we'll save about 110 quid, I think, by us paying for the kissing date directly rather than giving them a grant, because we complain about that, but they can't. So that's why it says up to. I have contacted the others. I'm not sure if there's any mileage, to be honest, in getting the backpack and any of them. So in terms of the others, it may be that we're paying them the full amount. But you're approving those 7 awards at the bottom of the sheet. If you could do that, please.
Okay. Should we propose that? In a second. All those in favour? Okay. Thank you. Okay. RFL's report.
Yeah, I won't go. I'll try not to repeat myself too much on what I said in the previous meeting. I suppose I just wanted to make the point about the trouble with. I'm always a bit unprepared for the March meeting because I tend to be very optimistic coming into March because we tend to have loads of general reserves coming into March, and then we come to this meeting and there's lots of opportunities for the money to be vanishing from general reserves. So I just wanted to make the point that this meeting alone, we're calling on effectively, potentially 25,000 quid to come from general reserves. When we were doing calculations in December, we were anticipating to have a lot more general reserves nevertheless it will impact on our, we were hoping that we would be in a very, very good position. We're probably now only going to be in a good position. That's because we've got the SAR request 5,000, we've got the insurance to Holme Library, which might be a few hundred, we've got the funding strategy 5,000, we've got the Youth Active Grant 1390, the service provision stuff's totaling maybe 14,000, something or other. So, although we'll be well placed, it's probably not as well placed as we might have been when I was looking at the figures a month ago. And just one point as well about earmarked reserves. Now, the ruling about earmarked reserves in financial regs is unspent funds for partially completed projects may only be carried forward by placing them in an earmarked reserve with formal approval of the full council. So this council meeting has to approve all of the applications for earmarking of funds. Now, I just wanted to make one point of one where I forgot to create its own item. So I'm putting this through in the bit about to consider any further actions, and that is to do with the civic vision. So you know, probably like the rest of you, I was expecting the civic vision funding to all be spent within this financial year. We set aside 20,000 quid, if you remember rightly. There's still £9,702.55 in that budget line. Obviously, the project's not finished yet, so I would suggest that you should vote to continue that £9,702.55 into an earmarked reserve. So we're spending from that earmarked reserve. So I'd appreciate it if you would, you propose and authorise that.
Everyone willing to propose? Second? All those in favour? Thank you very much. Councillor Mayor? Oh, sorry.
This relates to the tourism budget. Two items actually, very briefly. The first one is the videos. I've yet to get a response from Northern Contact as to whether the work has been done. I hope it has, in which case I will urge her to submit her accounts to you before the end of the month. The other one is in relation to the application by the Heritage Group for funding. And I urge this council to back it for a number of reasons. First, it brings people into this valley. It's an acknowledgement of the historical culture of this valley. And the work that was done last year was done at fairly short notice as an outstanding success. And I think we need to carry on, not just this year, but in subsequent years. And I would urge that we improve the grant.
How much is the amount?
I forget off the top.
Thousands.
Could I add something?
It's a large sum of money.
Not that large, actually. If I can just explain, I don't want to repeat too much because I've spoken about this previously. There's kind of two projects going on, which are both about sort of preserving heritage, promoting culture, promoting tourism, educating locally and so on. One of the things we'd already spoken about previously, which is about the Heritage Week, which, as Councillor Ransby has said, was very successful last September in the format that we did it, and we're repeating it again. I say we're in partnership here in the Holme Valley Tourism Partnership. So from the Parish Council, Holme Firth Forward, Holme Firth Conservation Group and Holme Firth Library. So the Heritage Week will go ahead, and a grant was already given in grants that were considered in the last meeting and so on, which was about the publicity of that and so on. That's separate. There is also, at the same time, a project going on where we are trying to move towards this long-awaited visitor centre / heritage centre in Holme Firth. we're not there yet. We spoke about this in relation to the Gartside unit, and as you all know, that's been put on hold until June to consider. In the meantime, there is an opportunity to use some other locations around England to set up a heritage hub, which will provide information to people within itself, and it will be a bit interactive with screens and so on. But there will also, it will point people in the direction of lots of different sites around the valley, so that we spread this attraction, this understanding, and draw people towards lots of those locations, whether it's Washpit Mill, particularly Reservoir, you name it, around the valley. So there's an underspend in the budget, in the tourism budget. There is still, as Steve said, some money to be spent on the videos, but there will still be an underspend, I think, in the region of about £2,500 to £3,000, I think, Rich. If £1,000 could be put into that particular heritage hub, not only would it be of a lot of use, but we can actually use it as leverage to get another £1,000 from Kirklees Council through the Space Hive scheme. So that's the pitch. Did you want to? I can come back to you, Alison, as well about the other thing that you spoke about, which is separate. If you want to.
So Lawrence has put a proposal on the table.
Well, I'm not sure I'm allowed to. I won't vote because I am involved with it. But it was just to help that information.
I think Steve can propose it.
Yeah, I will propose that we put it
Okay.
in our other. I'm happy to second that.
All those in favour? All those against? Any abstentions? Okay. First count, thank you.
I don't know whether, did you want to say something, Alison, about that other
Yes,
schemes?
I just brought something up because there is an interpretation board by the annual monument that really needs top surface renewing because it's all weathered and flattened around the edges. And I was saying to one of the heritage group, is it possible that we could find the artwork that is amazing that one there makes it top and just order another one? And I don't think it would be very expensive, but I think it would be quite a nice thing to do before the summer, that we actually have a new top on that thing. So whether the money would come out of this reserve that Rich is talking about, or whether we can some other option, I was thinking that would be useful to do. Yes.
I'm not sure what happened to the original design artwork.
But is it possible to just pursue that and just see if we can get another
I will try and.
You can ask.
It's a long time ago. We will try and find out what happened.
Yeah, I just thought if you commissioned something for the graphic art for a while, they probably would have that.
I'll talk to people who are involved.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm not looking at you.
Yes. Anyway, I just bring it up because I think it's to do with tourism. I think it's to do with
Yes, undoubtedly.
Okay. Anybody else, any other points to make? Councillor
I'm
Stewart?
not sure if this is the right time to ask, but the artwork and the timetable for the minibuses, do we have a date for when we're getting that yet?
Do you mean the map?
Yeah.
I can't give you an exact date, but I can tell you that we just in the last couple of days had very good progress with the. We weren't too pleased with the first draft that came back. I say we, that was Gemma, myself, and Alison sort of reviewed it. Went back to the designer and said, "Can you make some changes to this?" And I think I haven't spoken to Gemma about this yet. Have you not seen it? We have. It's nice. We like it. Bit of tweaking, and so I think a matter of weeks. I'm hoping.
Okay.
And are we going to do a splash with it to be out in the bus station handing them out or something, making people get on stops first?
Making them, yeah.
You'll have to
anybody got any further questions related to the RFO's report, not Lawrence's pitch for tourism?
Yeah, we're slightly overrunning now, so.
Yeah. Okay. Referrals to the monitoring officer.
Yes, just to say that one complaint regarding a named councillor is in the process of being considered, and there have been no other notifications from the monitoring officer. So that's tonight.
Chair, did we vote on that before though? We did vote, didn't we? Yeah, sorry, Warren. Obviously.
Home First Town Centre Works. Any updates from any councils, Kirklees councils?
We'd like a quick update. We finished in spring.
I
I don't know which spring. I've asked the council now, it's over a dozen times. The last person I asked was Steve Mawson. Steve Mawson's agreed to speak to me. He's not agreed when and where. I've asked him to come to Holme for a sticky bun and a coffee to see if he'll come into Holme, but I'm not quite sure he's not going to be lynched when he gets here. When the scheme is finished, there may be some considerations to any traffic safety issues which have been raised, and there have been many. So anybody with any concerns about what we've done for the road outside the library or the corner by the cheese shop where there's been some issues and incidents, those will be considered after the project ends. So if your residents get in touch with you about those issues, unfortunately, I want to see the full scheme working before they look at any safety issues. I've raised concerns about that one there, and there have been some news incidents, but that's the stand from Kirkley. But I'm happy to take any questions, but really I don't really know much more about that.
Thank you, Councillor.
Can
Councillor
I
Holme.
just add that it was supposed to be on the scrutiny meeting at Kirklees this time, however, things happened and it will now be next year. Well, next council year, isn't it? So, and we were hoping to get it off at the first meeting, but I don't know the dates.
I've taken the opportunity to walk around Home First and talk to quite a few of the retail outlets that make the heart of town. I have to say that the response I got I was quite shocked by it. Some of the retailers were literally moved to tears that I was the first person from the council to go and talk to them. They feel abandoned. Their turnover, many of their turnovers are down 80-90%. And a rough count, I'd say we've lost 20 full-time equivalent roles within the retail marketplace. And I've not been to Popper because the owner couldn't get in. I know he's been devastated by it. I can't believe that we are so complacent. Honestly, I mean, the people were just despairing. There were one or two retailers who were very happy. I can't say that they weren't. But a huge raft of them. I mean, I'm learning to say in public what was actually referred to Moses Cook. Someone referred to him with the C word. They said that he lied on national television, regional television at Christmas, that the retail business was great. It's a complete disaster. The roads, I'm just giving you a report back for what these people said. The roads are done for bridge, it's dangerous. I saw someone trying to get out of the lane, trying to get across the bottom of the road. It was ridiculous. The fact that island was being taken out. I'm sorry, yeah, that's the situation.
Councillor Holmes and then Councillor Wilson.
I think you are. It is wrong to say that people haven't been spoken to. There's been a lot of people here.
Well, I'm saying that's what they told me. That's what they told me.
You know, I think many of us here have spoken to many of the businesses, and it's true. It's been a difficult time for them, but we've not been complacent about it at all. And I think we shouldn't allow such criticism of Kirklees Council from anybody that is just rude and impolite. We should.
That's ridiculous. You talk about people's livelihoods. Like, I'm
Councillor Butler, you need to speak, please raise your hand and I'll come to you. Councillor Wilson.
I had a visit from my sister yesterday, from originally in Leicester. I know someone has to do. First morning she said to me, we've had a nightmare getting through Home First. What on earth is happening? This is on a Sunday and it was Greenwalks. We then went into a cafe on Holygate and we were looking out onto the new car park and she was saying, what on earth is going on there? I was, well, this is a new car park. When's it
All those in favour?
Sorry, can you say this again? I couldn't hear.
The waste going into the rest of the parish is cleaned out this week. It's commenting to the building people about it.
So can I just clarify, it's a motion for the council to contact Reynolds or to contact Kirklees?
Chair, I think we should bring that back at some date as soon as possible, what's been discussed tonight, over the way that the businesses in Oldford are losing money. I can assure you. I've spoken to quite a few of them, and there's none of them happy. And I remember I worked in Oldford from 15 years old to being 50. And it was almost a lovely place to work and there were lots of businesses. Now, nothing. Don't think there's anybody good. We need to get it rid of this, and it's to do with us, but it's also to do with Kirklees Council. They're doing nothing. They've ruined Huddersfield. I was down in Huddersfield on down at the bottom where the banks have moved and everything. There's 4 companies there are leaving. They're leaving, coming out of there, and there's one in the pipeline. So that'll be fine. That'll be fine. And they're all mooring down there, they're mooring. So, you know, like, we need to get a grip.
Yeah, that's understood. Councillor Morgan, you had your hand up earlier.
No, it's all right.
Councillor Whitelaw, you had your hand up as well.
I was just a sort of point of information really, because there's been such a lot of talk about this, really ambitious project which is taking a huge amount of time and effort, massive structural project. They lost 40 days during February because of the water and the weather and their inability to get into the river. You know, that's the sort of thing that you can make up quickly. So that's just one example. I just think you need to remember that a civil engineering project is extraordinarily complex and isn't something that you can say that will, without any possibility of alteration, happen according to a plan. There are always mitigating circumstances. It would be happy.
No, it's 40 days in February. Secondly, that's impossible. Secondly, the fact that you tell me they've actually had, well, insult to injury, they've actually had letters from Kirklees, I think it's Kirklees, it might be from this council, but Kirklees, because they couldn't tell me, actually saying what a good shot front was and what a bad shot front was. And they were appalled by that. Because they're saying that their businesses are being decimated. I think this council needs to ask Kirklees Council to support our retailers, else we won't have a tax centre.
We have tried. Councillor Davis? Yes. Just we'll hear Councillor Osborne and then yes.
I would just like to know, I've heard this discussion so many times in this council. I would like to know what the practical proposals are that are meant to be coming out of this discussion, other than Councillor Davis's proposal. Which I agree with, we should move to vote on as soon as possible, but are there practical proposals from this discussion?
That should be good then.
Yes, of course.
If you have any concerns, you want to raise individually. Send them to me, I'll send them to the structural engineering team, and I'll raise it on behalf of the council and feed back out to everybody. Please contact me, and it stops this discussion going on.
Thank you. Back to Councillor Davis's point earlier. Have we got somebody to propose that, Councillor Davis, obviously? Second?
Can I just clarify what you're voting for then? So what the motion is, I think, and you can correct me if I'm wrong about it, Councillor Davis, is that as a parish council you want to contact Reynolds and Kirklees to express concerns about waste products from the works getting into the river.
Yeah.
All those in favour? Anybody against? Any abstentions? One abstention. Everybody was in favour.
Is it possible that I can propose to offer some sort of physical support to the shop owners and retailers? Because we're going to lose the centre.
Councillor Butler, what exactly are you proposing?
I don't know. I mean, like, I've only just started. We're going to do something for these people, but they're going to lose their businesses. And
So a few months ago we did write to Kirklees, showing our distress and concern that the work's taken so long, and the concern for the businesses, and we relayed that with the businesses. There's a few of us that are on the WhatsApp business group chat. We've told them every step of the way we're on their side, we are trying to do everything. We're a lot smaller than Kirklees. We do try, we've emailed Kirklees and sent them letters. We're trying to get on to Storm. We can't do that much compared to Kirklees.
Okay, alright, okay.
Councillor Lansbury.
I'm, as some councillors know, I monitor the vacancy rate on a quarterly basis in the town. And currently our vacancy rate is slightly over 5%, which most towns would die for, bearing in mind the national vacancy on high streets is 12%. And regionally it's in excess of 16. So yes, we are suffering, but we are not badly off, and it's incumbent on us as councillors to encourage our constituents to go out and shop in Holme, and for us to be seen shopping in Holme.
Absolutely.
And, you know, not sit here complaining about, oh, the place is dying. Get off our backsides and spend our money in Holme. Don't go somewhere else, go to Holme. And I implore these council, or these councillors here, to do that, to be seen on the high street.
Thank you, Councillor Lansbury. Councillor Brooke, I'll let you have a final word, then after having some questions.
By council, but if I get in touch with it, I'll advise what's happened so far on the parish and on the council level. I'll update what's been done and what could be done, and we can discuss that with me, we can brief the next meeting.
Okay, that's great. Councillor White, have you got something additional to add that's not been heard?
Yes.
Go on.
So, Councillor Butler, I'm the Parish Council representative on the Home Firm Business Together group, which is well over 100 local businesses. So if there's anything that you would like to know or pass on, I regularly have communications with various businesses, and they know that we have their back.
I don't think they do.
The Business Association know that the Parish Council has their back. That's a message that we put through really quite strongly on a regular basis.
No.
That's the Business Association. Donald, you were going to give me a list of the people who were not on the Business Association, whom you said that were really concerned. So if you can do that for me, that would be really helpful if you could do that.
Can I please, I'm going to move this on. We've discussed this a lot. So.
Can I just say something as well? One of the Holme businesses has been in touch with the Parish Council on a different issue to do with dog waste bags, but also was talking about how business has been really difficult since Christmas. So I'm just a point of information for them.
I'm going to move on to item 204, Kirklees local plan review. Now, Councillor Black was due to give an update on this. Councillor Black is not here tonight, so is there anyone else that can give that update? Councillor Wilson.
I'll keep it brief. First thing to say is I'm not taking any credit for the work of this reference group. It's been down to Councillor Black, who has worked tirelessly on this. So I take no credit for it. A report's in the annual report anyway, so do agree with that. There's just a couple of things I'd like to highlight. The local plan actually sets a framework for all the planning decisions. And we know it's of interest to residents in the whole valley because our planning committee does get people coming along, members of the public, questioning plans and how we are potentially going to vote for those. We know it's of interest. And just to further that, the reference group that this working group is under is made up of not just councillors, but 12 other groups from outside of the council. So it just gives you some idea of the sort of interest in the valley about this. So an initial response to the plan was made in February 25.
questions on that? Okay, I'll move on then. The Holme Valley Parish Council annual report. So you've all seen the report tonight. Is there anything we need to add to what everybody's seen?
I don't think so. I know a couple of typos have been pointed out to me, so they can be changed if you want to move to approve the report as presented with typos amended.
First, we've got a second for that? Yep. All those in favour? Anybody against? Okay.
Chair, can I just, before we finish, can I just recognise the work that Gemma's done on this report and on the event this evening? You put it to pull things together, Gemma, and that event this evening was great.
Yeah, thank you, John.
Thanks, Chairman.
Okay, civic lease. Councillor Bellamy.
Yeah, so, as chair at City Hall Lease Working Group, I'm just pleased to present the lease between Northern Parish Council and Northern City Hall Community Trust. There's been a significant piece of work over many months involving detailed discussions to ensure the agreement is fair, sustainable and supports the long-term future of the civic as a valued community asset. The lease provides clarity on responsibilities for both parties while maintaining a strong partnership approach. It ensures that the civic can continue to run for the benefit of our residents whilst also protecting the parish council's interest and investment. Importantly, the agreement reflects our shared ambition to see the civic thrive, not just as a building but as a vibrant community hub, with community activity, culture and events across the Holme Valley. I would like to place on record also my thanks to fellow members of the working group, officers, Jen, Rich and Gemma, they've all been involved somewhere, the trust as well for their constructive and collaborative approach throughout the process. And so then I'm happy to recommend that the full council approve the lease and associated documents presented. Well, I don't. And then
I did the side letter as well because I forgot to.
oh, yeah, can you approve the side letter as well?
So with
That
that.
took a lot of work.
Councillor Wilson.
Yeah, can I just add to that? I think we all recognise it's important that we get this in on a sound financial footing. And I think the first stage of that was the 10-year maintenance plan that we're now just about to embark on the second year of. And that's been tremendous. I think this is moving in the same direction with the revenue budget. It's getting the revenue on the same sort of financial footing. And hopefully, if we approve this, it will, I'm not saying guarantee, but it will allow us to feel confident about making the break-even target. We are just about break-even this year. I think potentially next year we'll be in a better position if we approve this. I do think these proposals will help us, and I hope all councils will support that.
Do you want to say something?
I can't.
Well,
I'll think of it.
All those in favour then? Against? Abstentions? Right, thank you.
see, I know, I'm really quick.
Thank you, Councillor Bellamy. Community governance review.
Yeah, I'll try and be quick. So I'm speaking here on behalf of our small working group, which is myself, Councillor Bellamy and Councillor Green. As you know, this process is ongoing at the moment. Our proposals from this council went into stage one of that consultation were all taken on board. So they have formed part of the second stage of consultation. I really want to encourage everyone here to go on and it's easy to go on and vote and especially views, and I think people really should do that. There's some important stuff in there, some are more important than others. Between the three of us split that's up for consultation. This will eventually be decided by September, or in September, at Kirklees, which is fine. I'm a little bit, well, I'm very uncertain as to how things will pan out after that. If the decision is that Holme should be split off as a separate council from Home Firth, there's going to be a hell of a lot of work to be done in a very, very short space of time. I have to say it's more Kirklees' headache than ours. It will call on us, you know, to have input, but it will be quite a challenge, I think. I've never lived through it before, so we'll see.
Councillor Burley, anybody got a question?
Can I just add to that? I would encourage everybody to take part as well on the whatever it's questionnaire for the survey thing. I personally have, I think for, well, I've done it on the on-split, I've done it I'm not the on-split because we are probably there. So I would encourage everybody to have a look and definitely get comments in on what you think of the proposals.
Thank you. Okay. Chair's expenses. There's still £795 in the chair's expense budget, which I'm not likely to spend if I'm honest. And I have got some thinking about what I'm going to do with the money, which I'll talk to Rich about. Councillor Brooke.
Just quick on the last one, it says provision we discussed the request for some money towards a memorial in the down the Sands for some young chap who died there. The family was looking for donations for that. There was a suggestion you might approach the chair.
Okay.
The funds, if you'd be willing to consider that one there, I'm sure Parkinson got details of the actual deal with that. You can take a look at that perhaps.
Okay, I will have a look at that.
It is on the agenda, wasn't it? So,
Oh, right, okay.
So, consider that.
Okay. Consultation costs.
Yeah, so you'll see in the narrative that the council has engaged OEMs Corp Associates to give independent assistance regarding a GDPR information request. Standard costs are £150 plus VAT per hour or £750 plus VAT per day, which is 6 hours worth of work. Today, work has included assistance in the drafting of 2 letters, communication by telephone and 2 Teams meetings. The work is not yet concluded and is expected to involve OEMs in preparing a significant body of documentation for release in response to the request. I don't know if Councillor Bain needs to say anything further.
Quite simply, that we do have a budget line for this sort of request. The thing is, it's 500 quid in that budget line, and as you can see from these rates, you know, that's hardly going to touch the sides really. So we really don't know how much it will be in the end. I mean, obviously we'll try and manage that. We will manage that, but I'm proposing that that budget line is increased from general reserves to £5,000 to cover the potential costs of this.
Chair, can I just, I need to flag an interest in this, I actually know Park away. So I will be voting.
So there's been a proposal put on the table. Is anybody willing to second that? Okay. All those in favour? All against? Abstentions? Okay. That's carried then. Okay, risk assessment update.
Very simply, out of the extraordinary staffing committee meeting that we had in January, with respect to the complaint that we were looking at, one of the things that came out of that was concerns for the well-being of staff in terms of their contact with councillors and so on. And I spoke at the last meeting, I think it was the council meeting,
Well, as you read, this is about the extension that they basically got grant funding from various places to fund this extension, and they've asked us whether we as the Parish Council would pay for the insurance of the extension, or whether they should take out their own insurance. I mean, my point of view is that we tend to insure, the Parish Council tends to insure the building, and they insure, things they have in the building and their own staff, so on and so forth, the public. They've obviously put a lot of work into increasing the value of an asset of Holme Valley Parish Council, so I would think it would be a bit churlish for us not to pay for the insurance of a building that they increase the value of for Holme Valley Parish Council. So I haven't gone into it in terms of the actual amounts, this is just an in-principle thing. I don't suppose it would be hugely costly, but it will come from general reserves because, we've already set the insurance budget for next year. But I imagine it'll be under 1,000 quid probably.
Tom, what about?
Okay, we've got a second. All those in favour, I will vote because I've been a trustee of the library. Okay, that's passed, thank you. Right, environment to facilitate grant giving. Who's going to give an update on this?
You want to speak to this, Councillor Holmes?
Councillor Holmes.
Okay, well this was because we had more money in one pot, we had more money in the assets pot than in the project and events pot. So if you put them both together, we had enough money to give the grants that we wanted to give. And so, but we have to have full council permission to buy the money from one pot to another. So I'm hoping you're all happy to do that. And I also hope that next year this won't be a problem because we've agreed to have one pot of money, even though there will still be two types of money. Okay, well I hope you can see the long-windedness of doing this, that still people are still waiting to hear whether the grant has been approved because we couldn't do it at the finance and management meeting. So I propose that we agree to the buying of this money from the assets pot to the project and events pot. I'll second that.
Okay, we've got a second. All those in favour? Against? Any abstentions? COVID memorial budget.
Yeah, I'm going to speak to this, obviously, Councillor Black is not here. Yeah, we weren't expecting, obviously, for the COVID memorial thing to be still ongoing at this point, but the problem's been Berkeley's officers keep leaving, and they're going to approve, they're going to authorise something, haven't they?
It's the plinth.
The plinth,
Yes.
The plinth that stands is because it's where it is, it's sited and it's fixed and everything. It has to be given formal approval, and that has not yet come through, despite repeated askings for it. So we can't
finalise the whole thing.
until that comes through.
So there's £2,364.25p in the earmark reserve. Now we were expecting it to be down to zero, it's not going to be down to zero, so the hope is that you will allow them to roll this into next year to complete the project essentially.
Yeah, I propose that we roll it over.
A second. All those in favour? Against? Abstentions? Okay, thank you. Local plan reference group budget.
Yeah, I'll speak to this one as well. Similar sort of situation. We set aside £1,000 in the planning budget for the local plan review. Obviously the local plan review is still ongoing. We've spent £75 from that budget line. So we'd obviously like to roll some of that into next year for the completion of the local plan review.
You proposing that, Nick? Second. All those in favour? Against? Abstentions? Okay, thank you. Grants working group recommendation. Councillor Woods?
Another one which I take no credit for. Also, thanks to Rich for advising us through this process and bringing in some of our wilder ideas, I think. I'm not going to go through everything, it's all in the annual report anyway, but I think there's a few key points that's just worth noting. We now have a grants policy for the first time. We have a revised list of grant priorities, and the expectation is that applications should advance at least one of those. So it should be a bit easy for us to assess grants. The website contents now align with the policy. Are we going to continue with gifting some of the grants that we've already heard about from Rich so that we can use them in advance? There's proposed to be a process in place to deal with out-of-cycle applications. I mean, this proved to be a little bit contentious for 1 or 2 years last year, and I think it's something that the clerking team is looking towards changing. There were lots of ideas, and ultimately a lot rejected for various reasons, and I don't propose going through all of those. I think what I would say is all the ones that were raised were considered at some point. So the working group is now finished for this year at least, but I think as was alluded earlier, it's probably going to be reformed again in this next council year when we see the benefits or otherwise of what we're proposing now. So I would urge that we support this. It's already been through a referendum, I believe we support it.
Just to clarify, I'm assuming Councillor Holmes' point earlier about joining the two pots together, that's about the 5th and 6th one year, so we will vote to approve this tonight. That will effectively make that into one pot.
Yes.
I think, sorry.
Councillor Holme?
I think this is definitely will make sure that we are judging all the grants much more objectively, and you know, I think it's been a good piece of work, but I think it should be reviewed annually. But I think, you know, we've made a lot of progress, so thank you for everybody who's been involved in that. So, proposing.
Okay, I've proposed, second. All those in favour? Against? Abstentions? Civic recommendations to full council. This is from the Finance and Management Committee, who wishes to commission work to develop a fundraising strategy. The initial cost for this is estimated to be in the region of £2,500.
Can I speak to this?
Yes, of course,
This was those of you who came to the presentation from the architect will remember that there was a lady, Karen Holme, who spoke, and the Vision Working Group agreed to ask her if she would be willing to explore do all the financial investigation and hopefully raise us the large amounts of money that we would require to meet the exciting plans that the architect had put forward to us. And I think we agreed that this would be £2,500 spent on that. If she's going to be able to raise the millions needed, it's money well spent. But we obviously have to have approval for that from you. Finance and Management Committee approved it, so I hope that you will as well. In addition to that £2,500, there could be some, our scope of work with the architect also involved pre-planning application of £300 and asking the quantity surveyor to cost out the plans at £1,350, and if we want a public consultation, if we want boards to show the plans to the public, that will be another extra pot of money. So I think the total amount of money to move forward in the way that we agreed back in August last year with the architects, we should ask for, well, £5,500, I think should cover all those eventualities. So I would like to propose that that money is
So it's 5,000.
5,000. When I
the Hugh Thatcher Trust grant application. So I think the first thing we have to do here is agree that we're going to hear this application. Is that correct? No, for the full council to consider it as an out of normal grant application process, the first thing we have to do is say we're not going to hear it, and then we have to then decide whether or not we're going to approve it. Yeah. So have we got somebody proposing that we hear?
No, Damien just suggested that you use your chairman's expenses.
Yeah, but that's irrelevant at this point for this agenda item. So have we got Councillor Wilson, are you proposing that we hear it?
No, I mean, unfortunately, I wasn't at F&M when I think this was discussed. So, presumably it's been to F&M, and F&M didn't consider it as something that should be. So I'm just a little bit puzzled why it's now to the full council.
Because F&M said it should, basically. But that's what F&M voted.
On the basis that they didn't think it was appropriate.
On the basis we've got chairman.
If we followed all the guidelines that we carefully set out for the grant giving by the F&M committee, it didn't match those criteria. So F&M couldn't award it. But we did think this was something that, as a full council, under exceptional circumstances, the full council might want to give some money to this. It's the seated stands which probably you've all seen and sat on many times, and it's the parents that are asking for support with planters at the side. And so the suggestion was that it could have come out of your chair's expenses if you didn't have any leads. But obviously,
But
it's got to go to full council.
shouldn't we hear it first at full council to decide if we're going to approve it?
Well, really, it doesn't match the normal criteria for giving a grant. So this is except it's got to be considered outside the normal grant giving process.
Yes. So the first question is, have we got somebody proposing that we consider this outside the normal grant review
I
process?
propose that we
Thank you. Have we got a second for that? Right, all those in favour?
consider it.
All those against? Any abstentions? So we are going to consider this grant at full council. We may choose not to support it, in which case then it's back to me. But I guess the question is, you've all read the information on here, you all know what it's about. Have we got anybody who Councillor Dixon?
Yeah, I think we've already covered it at FMN, Finance and Management Committee meeting, and I've been a big supporter of the Hugh Thatcher Trust. When I was chairman of the council, I helped raise funds for them when they were raising money for a brain injury unit in Leeds, which they raised quite a lot of money for. It was really good. Did a half marathon, did a few things, quite a few other things for them. I don't think the planters fit our grant criteria. And also as well, when we spoke about finance and management, we were thinking about, well, whether you might want to put some money in from your chairman's allowance into it. But to be honest, that's totally up to you, Glenn, what you use for your chairman's allowance. You are the chairman, but this is a good project and it's a good cause, and if you choose to support it with whatever, if you did, it would be appreciated by Hugh Thatcher's family. But if not, it's totally up to you what you do with it. I don't think it should come through that council anyway, but that's my thoughts.
Have we got anybody else who wants to speak on this matter? Is there anybody who thinks full council should support it?
If it doesn't meet the criteria, then we have to stick with that criteria. So I don't think we should give it a grant in that respect. But I think that I agree that we should consider any other way we can support it financially.
Okay. So this is from Councillor Brooke.
I think it's quite a difficult one, and obviously I'm sure all our hearts go out to people's parents and family. It's not been specifically disrespectful that we can't support that grant. It doesn't match our criteria. Obviously, if we find out there's a fundraiser or system, I'm very happy to support that one.
I'm not going to make any decision at this point. I'm going to take it away and have a look at it and maybe start.
Yeah.
I did have another thought in mind, but it's outweighing one against the other, so I will consider that. Outside of the meeting. Okay, service provision budget underspends. Have you got anybody talking through this?
So at the meeting, there's a projected underspend of £7,273.72 in the budget line 4320 public toilets day to day. And this was discussed and it was resolved that at the close of the financial year, any underspend from the budget line be added to the EMR 351 Home Toilets refurb. So in line with your regulations, approval is sought for that movement and also for another one of £5,626.05 in budget line 4740 seats and shelters maintenance. The Service Provision Committee resolved that at the close of the financial year, any underspend from that budget line be added to an EMR stone shelter refurb to be created in the next financial year.
Councillor Brooke.
Propose an alternative that the funds are returned to general reserves and that we make sure that our reserves are looking healthy. We can always draw from general reserves without it being specifically for a purpose. I would suggest that if there's an underspend, it goes back to general reserves.
Councillor Wilson.
Just to clarify, do these ERs exist then at the moment?
The first one exists. The bus shelter one doesn't.
Right, okay.
Well, you're going to spend £7,000 on the toilets, refurb the toilets, that's not even, that's not maintenance, that's refurb. What are we doing?
Funds are available in money to cover it in that.
Yeah, but it seems a ridiculous amount of money to spend on the public toilets.
Have you had any intentions?
I've been to the toilet, it's very active.
Councillor Wilson.
Could I just make a general point? I think we touched on it earlier about reserves. You know, we're already starting dipping into reserves, aren't we? We haven't even started the new financial year. I mean, my understanding is that general reserves are for unforeseen emergencies. If we're talking about maintenance and refurbing, we should be putting this in the budget. So it should be in the budget already.
I'll second Gary's motion.
Councillor Dixon.
I'd like to propose that we make the amendment to the toilets refurb and also the one for the seats and shelters as well. For the stone shelter refurb.
We seem to have two proposals on the table now. Right.
I think these are recommendations from the service provision that were approved there, and that was delegated to service provision, so I propose that we support that decision.
I propose that's the second.
All right. All those in favour
Of which,
of
doing what it says.
doing what it says on the agenda?
Should we do that? I think we need to do theirs first.
All right. Sorry.
My proposal would be that we move the money into general reserves where they can be allocated from the appropriate cause. Not losing the money, just moving it where anything can drop and if we've got an emergency.
Okay. Have we got somebody seconding that? Okay. All those in favour of that proposal? Okay. Okay. All those against? Abstentions? Okay. All those in favour of Councillor Dixon's proposal?
Nine?
Okay, all those against? Okay.
Abstentions?
No, still just carried, okay. Outside unit lettable space and repairs requested. expenditure of up to £1,000 from general reserves for repairs to the outside of the main lettable space. These are repairs due to damage through wet weather and recent frost, I understand. Is there anybody proposing this?
You said, sorry, Chair, the process is then that we've got an emergency situation, we take it from general reserve.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
Anybody proposing this?
Yeah.
We've got a second. All those in favour? Against? Abstentions? Okay, that's carried. Communications and engagement working group. Somebody to give us an update on this, Gemma?
Yes, I think actually we didn't need to leave in because it was put through when we did the budget and the amounts was so actually just to know that the amounts was
Yeah, so it's really to note, I mean, the figures we've got here were part of the budgeting process we approved in November, December, January, so I think Gemma thought we needed to put it through again, but it's really just a note, because it's already been approved.
So we're just noting that one. Okay, thank you.
Excuse me, Chair. Sorry, can I just raise interest in this? I'm covering it on the show this year, so I'm not going to.
I don't think we're voting on it. Thank you.
Sorry, there was a consideration like my apologies. Holly and Joe have asked if we want to take a nutrition store in the countryside. I haven't confirmed yet.
Okay.
So whether the council would like to take a store in the countryside, Holly and Joe and I would personally take a share because I think it's a very good way of networking and then
We
may or may not want to do
We haven't given them a grant, we haven't given them 50
sometimes
numbers.
they have a grant and they say, come to the table, but it is £50 which is
Okay, all those in favour of allowing a show, stall? Anybody against? Abstentions? Okay. Chair's report. Am I giving a report? Everyone earlier. You're all doing very well, all the absolutely.
You may just refer that your fellow councillors to you previously.
Yeah, yeah. Refer to the report I gave 2.5 hours ago or whatever it was. Yeah. Okay. Reports and questions from Kirklees ward councillors. Have you got anything you'd like to update us on? No.
No.
Any questions? No. Items for publicity. I guess the main publicity is more about the annual meeting that happened previously. Yeah. Yes.
I'll publicise those, so
Anybody else? Okay. Yeah.
before we
Just
go
go on to it.
Thank the applicant for putting it tonight down. I think the best annual general meeting this council has ever done.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. No, it's an annual meeting. Councillor Holmes.
Can I just say, I think we overcatered, so apologies for overcatering, but there is a lot of food there. Please take something home for your supper.
I should say that we only ordered for 30 people, about 50 came, and there still seems to be most of the food